I dove way too deep into the effects of ADHD and caffeine, and you're gonna find this really interesting. I have so many friends that absolutely love drinking coffee right before bed because it calms them. But then I have other friends who will do whatever it takes to just get off of caffeine because it messes their ADHD up so bad. The question is, which version are you, and what can we find out about it to make it work more in your favor? So what's really happening with caffeine? Caffeine is a stimulant, just like ADHD meds, but much weaker. So it blocks adenosine, which kind of is this dimmer switch in your brain that makes you get sleepier. Doing that, it makes you feel more awake and alert. It can also increase dopamine. One interesting thing is it can actually affect us with ADHD differently because some of us can feel really anxious with it and others can feel a lot calmer. I've heard of a lot of people with ADHD going to sleep with coffee, basically because it calms their minds and helps them get to sleep easier. Just about everyone I know with ADHD struggles with sleep. So how does it affect our brains with ADHD? Well, it boosts our alertness, helps us fighting ADHD fatigue, can help improve focus, but not for everyone necessarily, because it really depends like what's actually causing the distractions or lack of focus in that thing. And it actually might increase anxiety and jitters, especially if you're sensitive to stimulants. And it can actually disrupt sleep, which makes ADHD symptoms worse in the long run. So how can you know if drinking coffee will actually benefit you or not? So if you check the ADDA website, you'll actually find that ADHD is linked to dysfunction in the dopamine pathway, so caffeine might be really helpful for ADHD due to its dopamine boosting effects. So it might be better for you if you feel calmer and more focused after drinking it. If you need just a little dopamine boost, if you don't take meds, or if you find coffee calming, or if you struggle with feeling fatigue or feel really sluggish when you're trying to think. So there's actually a good chance that it can improve your focus and motivation when you have ADHD. It can also improve your reaction time, vigilance, and logical reasoning, which can help you with repetitive tasks, lowering impulsivity, and risky behavior. Now, this doesn't really count necessarily for everybody with ADHD. What if it's not for you and you just feel like it doesn't work? If it makes you feel anxious or jittery, some ADHD brains will overreact to it. I have a lot of friends with ADHD that try and get off of caffeine because it just messes them up. If you struggle with sleep, caffeine will totally make it worse. And if you take stimulant meds already, it might be too much stimulation. I'm not a doctor, but this is just what I have heard when I'm talking to clients and friends with ADHD. You can also have other issues like an upset stomach, changes in heartbeat, muscle tremors, nausea, headaches, all kinds of different things, especially affecting your sleep schedule. Overall, caffeine should be used in moderation if you're gonna use it because it's not necessarily the healthiest thing, and you run a greater risk of having adverse effects. Now, the FDA actually says that you should have no more than 400 milligrams per day, which is basically like 4 or 5 cups. But I don't think that that's a good amount. I don't really drink coffee, but I did have this struggle with soda where I would just come home, open the fridge, and drink half a liter of root beer every single day. That was not good for me in school. So how do we use coffee wisely? When the time is right. You may also want to try lower doses of coffee, right? So small amounts work better than a caffeine overload when you're already in the middle of feeling super overwhelmed. Another really interesting thing is you can pair it with protein, so you can reduce crashes that way and the jitterness. But the best thing you can do is just to kind of experiment and track the effects of it. Having ADHD, your brain is very unique, so you're gonna have to experiment. If you're using caffeine to help you focus, there's actually might be plenty of strategic ways to get around having to do that. There's a link in the description below you can click to get free coaching and free productivity tools. Now, even though there's a lot of pluses to this, overall, I think that caffeine doesn't really have enough evidence to support that it's really helpful for ADHD. And if you're on stimulants, it might be a little overstimulating for you to be on caffeine and on stimulant medication from your doctor. I think it's actually a really good question to ask your doctor. But just like anything else you have a relationship with, it is a relationship and you need to treat it with moderation. Even eating healthy things could be bad if you eat too much of it. Like even eating one bite of a pickle. I don't like pickles. Which version are you? Pro or con caffeine with ADHD? If you like this video, you're going to also love this video right here. From a friendly neighborhood ADHD coach with ADHD, I'm Nick McLaughlin. Later, neighbors.